welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, 18-hour special initiative that celebrates the undying entrepreneurial spirit of micro, small and medium enterprises. Here's what we have lined up on the show for you tonight. On our Insights segment, we feature Happily Unmarried, and on Bright Sparks, two companies, Super and Alma Connect. So that's what we have in store for you tonight. Let's get started right away with our Insights segment. Set up in 2003, Happily Unmarried, which retails everything from quirky accessories to t-shirts to travel accessories, came into existence at a time when there was no social media or online forums to promote, market or sell. Now, the company marries both online as well as offline selling models. I caught up with its co-founder, Rajat Tully, to talk about all things branding and marketing on an online platform as well as to discuss fundraising. Take a listen. I'm being joined by Rajat Tully of Happily Unmarried. Rajat, let's kick this conversation off by first getting the idea behind the brand name.
So Happily Unmarried was started a long time ago. That time we were not very sure of what all services or products that we'll do. What we were very sure of was we'll target the young people. And it was primarily based out of our experiences when we were just fresh out of our MBA school. We discovered nobody was targeting the young in India. We figured that, with such a huge population, so many young people in the country, there should be a brand which targets the young, which is why we thought of the name Happily Unmarried. It has everything which connects with the young, but it doesn't tell you exactly what all products or services that it offers, which is what our situation was that time. We were not sure what all we'd be offering.
Since the launch, you are of course now present in different categories that you sell. What are the expansion plans looking like for those categories?
We have two distinct categories. One is Happily Unmarried, which is largely I'd say the youth lifestyle business. So we are in categories like bar accessories, we are in apparel, we are in stuff for home and kitchen, and we do a bit of office and stationery as well. Apart from that, we have a range for men's grooming called Ustra, which targets the young urban male. And as we grow forward, we see Ustra getting a bigger share because it's got a larger audience that it targets. And Happily Unmarried is a very quirky niche lifestyle brand.
Let's talk about mentors, Rajat. How important are mentors in your opinion? Have you had mentors along the way? And what points in the business life cycle or the business journey do you suggest our viewers go about looking for such mentors?
Well, I think mentors are important, but they are not the be all and end all. There will be a phase in your life when you will meet people who will give you all kind of advices. It's not important to listen to everything that they say. In some things, yes, it's very important to get guidance so that you don't make the same mistakes that somebody else did already. Having said that, a lot of it is also will depend on what kind of business you are, because all businesses are fundamentally different and how you see it. So my two bits is, yes, you need a mentor, but you don't need a mentor to do a successful business. It helps, but it's not the biggest criteria for a successful business.
What has been one of your key challenges as an entrepreneur, and what have you learned from that? What's the takeaway from that, and therefore the advice for our viewers?
I guess the biggest challenge for us for a long time was capital. We didn't have access to capital, so we grew much slower than we would have liked to. The biggest learning from that was, we learned how to survive during tough times. We learned not to give up, and as and when the money came in, we were able to use it very, very extensively because we exactly knew where we would spend the money. This also is a very important part. Once the money comes in, where is it utilized?
We have a call-in show here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and most of the queries are about how to go about raising funds. In your opinion, at what point of the business life cycle should a company look at going to the banks or go to venture capitalists?
I don't think you will get a bank funding unless you are profitable and the business is really, really solid. So that option that you have is either borrow from your friends, relatives, family. I would say you start with that, borrow from friends, relatives, family, build your business to a level where it is there's more than just an idea on a PowerPoint. It needs to be a steady business. What they say is it has a proof of concept. You need to use the VC money not to experiment. The VC money is utilized to build the business further. So ideally that money is used not to experiment, but to make the business grow. So which means that by the time you go to ask VC for the money, you should exactly know what your business is. You should know where the growth is going to come from, and what are you going to do with the money, because obviously these are the questions that they're going to ask you.
Speaking of advice, Rajat, what is the one piece of advice you'd have for our viewers?
One of the things that as an entrepreneur you need to is you have to have a lot of faith in yourself. I would say two things. One is, don't do it alone, because it's a very sad and long journey. So ideally with a co-founder, it's really it makes things easier. Secondly, you should be flexible to see if the idea is not working, or if even in spite of your best efforts, it's not delivering the result you expect. Be open to change. Don't fall in love with the idea, fall in love with the business. And the idea and the business, the very definition of business is something that grows. It needs to grow.
You've been in existence for a while now, Rajat. How has the market changed for a brand like yours? What has been the evolution? What has been the change over the years you've seen?
Two things that have really helped us is, one, that when we started, I'm talking about 2003, there was no social media. So telling people about your products or telling about your launches or anything interesting was really difficult, because as small companies, you can't afford to buy advertising on mass media. So social media has been a huge impact. I would say it's really helped smaller businesses grow. So these things really help create a bigger customer base for you. The other bit is that when you're opening stores, or when you're trying physical retail, it's really expensive to set up stores. That's where internet comes in very handy. You are able to reach out to a far more audience without investing in physical locations to reach out to them.
So when you started, there was no concept of social media. But how does one use social media more effectively to grow their business? And this is particularly for startups as well as the MSME space.
What social media does is, one is, it lets people know about what you're doing. Secondly, it gives you immediate feedback. Even social media is now big enough to help sustain a brand if you use it intelligently and you're willing to spend some money to advertise your proposition or your business. So I would say that in this day and age, if you're doing a consumer facing business, it's virtually impossible to start off without having a sizable or a good social media strategy. I would rate it higher than even right now for television for startups. Because it's easier and it's more manageable, and the results are direct. So you would first have to crack that and then move on to the bigger forms of media.
How does one go about making themselves investment ready? Are there particular steps that need to be put in place to ensure you're more attractive when it comes to looking for funds?
Typically, you have to understand what a VC is looking for. A VC comes with a fund which is not his. He gets some money from somewhere. He has a 5 to 7 year window to invest that money and take his money out and give a return to whoever he's borrowed the money from. So their way of looking at a business is very different from how a regular investor or how a bank would look at a business. So a VC will look at a business which he thinks can grow 20 times, 50 times, 100 times in a 5 to 7 year period. They're okay if you make a lot of losses initially, but as long as it helps the business scale. This is usually how VCs try to identify an investment business. As entrepreneurs, you need to have an idea which is sustainable, which is scalable, which means that it needs to be able to go from 0 to 100 in a very short period of time. VCs also tend to look at teams. They don't look at individuals. So if you have a good team in place, it helps. So when you go for funding with the VC, I would say there should be two things very important. One is, you should have a proof of concept, which means that you have a working model of your business. If it's showing revenues or returns, even better. Second, have at least have a small core team and make them meet your VC as well, because it should not come like a one-man show. They like to, they're investing in you, and so they should know that if there are enough people to manage the business in case God forbid something happens to you.
A quick last word, you have different ranges that stand for different socially relevant topics, if I can call it that. For example, you say you're against animal testing. One of your taglines says, not tested on animals, only rascals. How important, in your opinion, is that necessary to really stand out, A, versus your peers, as well as ensure that it leads to a more evolved, holistic marketing and branding idea and strategy?
When you start a company, one is that you have to do things you believe in. So when we started Ustra, we certainly believe that we should have products which don't have chemicals, which are ethically sourced, which are obviously not tested on animals. So we felt that was important as entrepreneurs or as people who believe in these things.
Let's take a quick break. On the other side, we continue talking about innovative companies that are changing the domestic landscape. We're featuring Super as well as Alma Connect. Welcome back. You're with us here on the Leaders of Tomorrow, and we're featuring Super and Alma Connect on our Bright Spark segment today. Gone are the days of printing resumes and waiting for that golden opportunity for your dream job. In this era of fast technology, we need everything on the go. What if we tell you that now you can get even jobs on the go? Isn't that news super? Well, Paulami Mukhopadhyay has the lowdown on this innovative company and product. Take a listen.
Paper applications and emailing resumes becoming a monster in your Naukri searches? Well, according to this new startup, all you need is just one right swipe to change your career. Introducing Super. Termed the Tinder for jobs, Mumbai-based Super is trying to change the way you look for jobs.
Dason, why do we need Super when we have platforms like Monster.com, Naukri.com? What is the difference?
See, so I think that nobody likes the complicated process of like building a resume, then going to a job site, punching in keywords, then sending a dozens of emails, and then just like waiting for some time, right? So the traditional sites like Monster and Naukri, they are built over this model, where you just pray and pray and hope you get that phone call, right? So as a job seeker, you don't really feel empowered. We are trying to flip that equation and saying, hey, let's put the job seeker in the driver's seat. At Super, what we're doing is we're not just showing you all the jobs that exist on the internet to you, right? We are only showing you the jobs that you will love and giving you the upper hand to decide how to easily connect with them, right? So I think that's how we are different from a Monster or Naukri.
Super is often called the Tinder for jobs. Do you think that model works in India?
Tinder, what it did was it simplified dating, right? And it made it really fast for the young population. So we are doing the same thing to jobs, which is like another important part of your life. And I think it's already working because like we have 2.5 million swipes that have happened in our app in the past few months, right? And what keeps us going is the stories of people who get hired every day. So it's already working well for us.
What is the reason behind having an app-only model for Super?
I mean, India is a mobile-first country, right? So if you ask anyone around you what's mobile plus shopping, they're going to tell you it's Flipkart or Amazon. What's mobile plus restaurants, it's going to be Zomato. But if you ask anyone what's mobile plus jobs, they will draw a blank. And this is because somebody has to make it easy for you to apply for a job, be connected in real time and make it convenient on the go. And the only way this is possible today is by doing it over mobile, right? So that's our primary reason. A lot of times individuals don't have their own personal desktops or laptops. A lot of us live in a mobile-only environment beyond work. So mobile lets us give you notifications and updates real time and connect you with employers faster.
You have managed to get Series A funding. What are the expansion plans?
We started by simply connecting job seekers and employers in tech companies. And after seeing success there, we expanded into advertising, finance, media jobs, and we are soon entering into experimenting in hospitality, restaurants, BPOs, KPOs, right? And we want to basically go to every Indian who is looking for his next job and has a resume at hand.
In this era of social networking, there's too much information out in the open about anybody and everybody. How do you go about data management or authentication process?
We think, while there is so much of data out there, we always try to see, how do we ensure that a user or a business has lesser data to deal with right in front of them. So, as a job seeker, since you've asked you, how much do you want to earn? Which cities are you interested in? What kind of job you'd like next? What roles you're interested in, right? We try to only use that data to personalize the jobs that come to you. So if you're seeing a recommendation in the app, it's only because you have declared that that's my interest.
So why did you name the app Super, which is focused on job searches?
Because honestly, that's how a job should make you feel, super, right? It's a very important moment in a person's life when he gets his first job or he gets a higher paying job, right? And it's something that's celebrated so much at home.
Right.
So we feel that moment is really super in someone's life, and that's why I picked up a name like Super.
To take the anticipation and waiting out of an applicant's life, Super sends timely notifications to the user's app to keep them updated about the status on their applications. Their chat rooms allow employers to connect with potential employees and discuss various details before the interviews.
In terms of marketing, we rely heavily on word of mouth. So most of our user base comes from there. Okay, and apart from word of mouth, we have an inbuilt referral system built within the app, wherein a user is allowed to invite his friends. And also we have a set of on-ground activities running in parallel, wherein we talk to our users and evangelize them and bring them onto the app.
Within just 2 months of the launch of the app, Super has received over 500,000 downloads. With Series A funding in its kitty, Super is all set to swipe right on all its business goals.
With professional networks and references driving recruitments and collaborations across verticals, Alma Connect has seized the opportunity and built a social network website for alumni of various academic institutes. A company with an idea of its own is making waves by hosting the country's most prestigious management and engineering institutes and even going international. Within just a couple of years of its launch, Punita Verma has the story.
Isn't it a great feeling when you meet your school peers after ages? Creating a digital world for all your alumni connections is Alma Connect, a social platform that creates private social networks for schools and colleges, helping connect alumni, students and faculties of the institute. Founded in 2011 by Swapnil Khandelwal and Rubish Gupta, Alma Connect is the first widely accepted global alumni social network from India.
So your startup has a pretty unique concept in the e-commerce space. What made you believe that you'll be able to cash on something like an alumni network?
So when I graduated, I got a lot of help from my alumni, and I was really passionate for my alumni, and the community was also very passionate. They used to care for each other. So clearly I was able to see the value, and we were not happy with the way we were connecting. We thought that there is much more that we can do for each other than what we were doing. So the belief was there. And when I looked around, I thought that there is a huge number of people who want this.
Well, considering that your business had an element of speculation in it, what kind of pitch did you use to attract funding towards your venture?
So when I pitched to them, I ensured that I am focusing on the idea and the value that we can create rather than the solution that, the projections that this is what you can expect in the 3 months. And that's how I found the right investors who really believed in us, the team, and the idea that we should do it.
So how is your venture adding value to your audience, and who are the beneficiaries of your services?
When you look at the alumni community, it is a diversity of people coming together as a group. You have fresh alums straight out of college who are still looking to make their careers. So they need help in mentoring and career advice, which we get them through the matured alums, the senior alums. Then you have the matured alums, who are looking more to reconnect, get recognition, recruit from the young alums. So we help them with that. And then we have the very senior alums who are very nostalgic, very passionate to give back to the community and reconnect with their batchmates. So we are, in general, the platform is personalized towards all these different stakeholders and able to cater to their needs specifically.
Alma Connect offers 2 forms of subscription models, a free and a paid version to more than 250 institutes in the country. The company also hosts alumni networking forums for these academic institutes that help them garner additional revenues.
So how many and what all institutes are you hosting on your portal, and what kind of growth have you registered, not only in terms of numbers but also in terms of services that you're offering to your beneficiaries?
We are in a very exciting phase of our growth where we have reached that critical mass where things start happening on their own in an organic fashion at a very rapid pace. We have about 300 institutes who are using the paid network, and then another 800 institutes who are on the free version. In total, the number of users and number of networks are good enough that they're able to influence each other. More importantly, the way to measure where we are, whether we are really able to create value or not is whether the same users are coming back to the website or not. That rate is increasing every week. The number of people who visited this week gets increased by the next week. So we are very happy with that part also.
So what kind of institutes are you looking at hosting on Alma Connect, and what has been the response of these institutes so far?
So one very important decision that we took in the beginning was that we'll design the platform which caters the masses. There are 30,000 colleges in India, and out of them only 200 are tier 1. Rest of all of them fall in the tier 2 and tier 3 category. We said that these people also care for this alumni relationship. They care for the time they have spent in the college and they value it. So we'll design the platform in a way that it is not restricted just to the tier 1 but to a tier 2 and tier 3 also. And this has really phased out really well, where majority of our institutes is now tier 2 and tier 3, and now we are slowly shifting to tier 1 also, where they are also extremely happy to adopt the platform because they are seeing value from it.
Alma Connect boasts of a prestigious clientele that includes most of the IITs, IIMs, along with many international universities as well. With over 4 lakh signed up users, incubation from IIM Ahmedabad, and a valuation of $500,000, Alma Connect certainly seems to be an idea that is connecting alumni communities in a meaningful way.
With that, it's a wrap in this edition of Leaders of Tomorrow. We'd love to hear from you. Do feel free to get in touch with us at leadersoftomorrow@timesgroup.com. Reach us on social media using the hashtag LOT, or call us on that number which is on your screen. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.